honored to be here. Takashi and I partner at EYRC Architects. Very honored to be batting lead off of the 4 architecture firms. It's been amazing to kind of put our weapons check our weapons at the door and collaborate with 3 amazing firms. A little bit about me. I'm not a Palisadian. However, I grew up in Santa Monica. So I went to Franklin, Lincoln, Samo. The Dolphins were rivals. But this is a moment where we, again, leave rivalry at the door. So this is a privilege to be part of the Reset program to help the Palisades come back. Next slide. You can all read about this later. Next slide. So this is a little sample of what we've done in the past. So I chose here like a house we did on 19th Street, which is the street I grew up on between Alston and Margarita. This one's between Margarita and Carlisle. But the larger picture is a house that is in the alphabet streets, and it is one of the 10% that was fortunate enough to survive. And so it's on Chautauqua, close to Cary, and I would like to think that some of the strategies here, and I know that a lot of it is luck, a lot of it is where the embers land and whatnot, but I think some of the strategies that we use on this house let it be part of the 10%. Next, so I'll spend the majority of the time talking about our proposal. A lot of our work is about this relationship between the interior spaces and the exterior spaces. Now, as we know in the Palisades, many of the sites are not small, but modest in scale. And so how do we preserve outdoor space and add in these new layers that we now realize are important, resilience, into our schemes? And cost is also an issue for these rebuild projects. How can we do this in a cost-effective way for so many homeowners who never thought that they would be building a house from scratch? We came up with a scheme where we try to make the structure and systems as efficient as possible by loading them in this, what I'll call a service bar, and then creating basically a great room that maximized by pushing it to the side yard. So this is a 40-foot lot, so the smaller lots in the alphabet streets, pushing it to the side to maximize the outdoor space and using ample glazing, but not more than needed, to kind of maximize that relationship between living and the outdoors, which we all know in Southern California, we're blessed to have this climate. The climate is changing. It's a balance of acknowledging what we have, but also acknowledging also what the future holds for us. The other thing that we try to do in our scheme is to introduce variability and adaptability and optionality. So the house, we're proposing a base plan, but we're also proposing a garage and potential ADU. So this is a plan as if there was only a garage, but this is the upstairs, assuming that someone has opted to include an ADU in the scheme. So the ADU is an opportunity to add an extra bedroom or guest room or studio, whatever it is, optional. And then the relationship between the main house and the garage or garage/ADU is a way to create variability in these neighborhoods. So you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 of these houses next to each other, and they would not appear to be the same house. They can be personalized. So this is a little diagram that shows how that might work, and then a rendering. So these are all, we're still in the early phases. The data we're getting back in terms of meeting Jeff's goals, in terms of buildability, scheduling, and most importantly, budget, are looking favorable, and we're super happy about continuing on this journey with all of you. Thank you.
Who's next?
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Simone Lapenta. I'm an Italian architect, and I'm a design director at RIOS. I'm not from Los Angeles, but Los Angeles is my second home. I was adopted by Los Angeles 11 years ago. So it's been a privilege and an honor to not just work on this project, but work on this project through lenses of RIOS. Because what we say always is that design is never without a story. And so this is a very powerful story that we're talking about today. So when we approach rebuilding after a loss, it's never easy. Rebuilding after a loss is never just about talking about structure, but it's more about restoring community and restoring a sense of place. And what we are known for in the design world is placemaking. Placemaking is nothing more than having care for the space in between the building as much as we have care for the building itself. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about a sense of place. We're talking about placemaking. We're talking about reconstructing a sense of togetherness that it got lost. The LA fire didn't just destroy its structure, they took away your memories. But we feel and we hope that they didn't take away your strength. And on that strength, we want to try to build up our proposal. Next. So RIOS is a multidisciplinary firm that was established 40 years ago by Mark RIOS. We bring together architects, landscape architects, interior designers, all in the same group of people because we believe that design is one. We design homes that respect the place and that respect the family. They are site-specific and family-specific. Because at the end of the day, we want to do houses that are good for the people that live within it. And they can create a sense of belonging and a sense of story. They can hold memories. So we pride at RIOS the fact that we give a lot of sense to that story and that memory. One of our main characters is also to try to create connection between the indoor and the outdoor. And on that sense, I would love to next show you some of our previous projects. Our residential practice is founded on the idea that structure and landscape should come stronger together. They should support one another. So our houses are never cold. They're always warm. They're inviting. Moving across the house is always easy, and they're connected with the exterior. There's always a dialogue with nature, because we sustain nature. We should celebrate nature. And they're places for people. They're welcoming. They invite people in. So that's the way that we want to try to rebuild Pioneers of Place, our proposal for Reset. Next. So I would love for you to bring home 3 simple ideas. Number 1, start small. You don't have to build a big house day one. But you need a project and a house that can allow the sense of time evolving through the course of time because our needs change, people change, family changes. So allowing the house to change with it. The second one is building together. Sharing knowledge, sharing resources, even sharing spaces could be a great sense of starting to reset the community, that sense of togetherness. And last one, think about the future. Don't just think about something that is good now. This is an opportunity to not rebuild just what it was, but do it better, something for the future. So rebuild with purpose. Our proposal is very simple. Imagine at year 1, a house that is a single family house, but has in it the capability to evolve, to allow for getting bigger, getting larger. So maybe at year 1, there's no fences, and your neighbor is your friend, and you share the same space together to start to feel that you're not alone. You're a pioneer. You're pioneering this place. And maybe at year 5, the fences go up, the family is growing, and you need an ADU. So you build an ADU on top of the garage. You know why? Because the structure and the design allow that to happen. And maybe at year 15, maybe you sell the house to a new homeowner. And guess what? They need another bedroom. So the structure and the design allows for a secondary bedroom on top of the second floor. So the house changes over time because we change over time. So the first floor plan is very simple. It's very compact to leave spaces for sheltering from potential fires. There's a functional area in the front. There's a very strong social gathering space in the center that is connected with nature on both sides. And then there are private spaces in the back. On the second floor, potentially, you can build an ADU in the front and an additional suite on the back. This is a house that starts on 3 principles. You start simple, you might build together, and you are planning for the future. Because at the end of the day, we want to tell this story all together, and we hope that we can work with you on that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Dangaran. I'm one of the founding partners at Woods Dangaran Architects here in Los Angeles. We are architects, interior designers. I'm personally been in LA 25 years, since first day at USC School of Architecture, where I met my business partner, Brett Woods. We try to run our studio like a family, studio of architects, interior designers, and really we focus on single family homes, many of them here in Los Angeles, although over the last 5 years or so, we're now in 8 or 9 states across the country. I think part of why that's important is that we get to talk to many, many different people from all over the world and with different backgrounds and different goals. Part of what we're doing, and we're very honored to be invited to this program and to participate, in the end, we want to help, whatever that means. It's not about building homes for us with our names on it. It's about building back homes for the community, and we want to be a part of that effort. Part of our inspiration for that is not just with new construction, but our practice is also based on restoring and renovating historically significant homes here in Los Angeles. One of them is here, which is kind of a fan favorite of both our clients, potential clients, and our team. This is the Moore House in Los Feliz by Craig Elwood. It was built in 1966. It is 1,701 square feet, 3-bedroom, a very modest home by today's standards, but at that point was a very grand home. We wanted to build our concept upon this because it is a very simple, rational, cost-effective construction that then gives a lot of flexibility and ownership to potential homeowners, especially when we're talking about a design that is hopefully replicated many, many times over, because that means we're helping the community. Go to the next slide. Some of the specifics of our practice, architecture, interior design, we founded about 15 years ago, and we've worked extensively throughout Los Angeles. We can go to the next slide. These are 3 images that I think signify our approach to this reset program. One is materiality. We're considering plaster a non-combustible material that we can fireproof behind on various levels, along with the steel construction, which we're very excited about. Another is connection to exterior. You can see whether it's a connection to courtyard, connection through a space into what is considered leftover space, a side yard setback, can be very inviting and a part of the interior environment. And then, of course, landscape architecture, just like Simone touched on. Landscape is so critical to us. Our, I guess, ethos and approach is the building shouldn't take your focus. It should be about the landscape. It should be about the site. It should be about the community. Your life should fill this home. These are structures that we're designing, but your life makes it into a home. And that's what you really see in our work. We're also very, very concerned with timelessness. I think that's part of why we reference the Moore House. It's built in 1966. People still respond to it. Has 7'10" ceiling heights, very modest sized 30-inch doors. These are not grand spaces. These can be very intimate spaces that humans ultimately occupy, that turn it into a home and that people want to live in. The next image is really our design concept. And so if we're building upon the Moore House, we're literally building upon that single-story structure for a 2-story proposal. Right now, we have taken, from an efficiency standpoint, the module of the 4-foot grid for sure, which is kind of throughout our work, even outside of this program. We've taken the need for a 2-car garage by code, looked at that parameter as an opportunity that sets the overall width of the home. From there, we have this 4-foot module that really allows any of the homeowners the opportunity to adapt that to their lifestyle, add bedrooms, take away bedrooms, et cetera. 2-story structure, very efficient in its design and construction, which means that it's cost effective. This can still be, though, personalized for the individual property. In looking at distance from side yards, this structure is 20 feet wide, and so you could say, well, maybe on one part we're going to respond to a beautiful tree that's still existing and take this structure and put it up to a minimum side yard of 6 feet, or maybe we want to be more centered so that we have a yard on either side. I think part of what we want to leave open is for this to be the individual homeowner's home, and that means that their input is absolutely critical to the floor plan design and options, but also where it's placed on the site. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Montalba, founding principal with Montalba Architects. Certainly excited to be here today and honored, as the group mentioned. As some of the others, I live in Santa Monica Canyon, so somewhat close by, not quite a Palisadian, but it's quite nice. Was out of my house for quite a bit and understand the trauma that happened, and a lot of our friends lost their homes, and certainly want to contribute in any way we can. Our practice is based here in LA. We also have an office in Switzerland and an office in New York. So, as was mentioned earlier, we're working on projects throughout the world, and one of the things you see in buildings in the US, and Jeff touched on it, is the process of building, and that's very bogged down, and there's a lot more participants and layers and so forth, and I think we're excited about this project in helping people find out maybe a new process or a new path that might make building simpler. I didn't have this in the presentation, but I think it's worth noting, we have a house we did in Switzerland about 2 years ago, and we did a little bit different design, but a similar scale house here in Malibu. The house in Malibu was 3 times more expensive than the house in Switzerland. And the house in Switzerland, there was helicopters that carried the panels up, and it was a panelized system home. And there's just a different process. There was half the number of trades. So I think rethinking and resetting on the process of building is super exciting for all of us, and we hope that we can help contribute to that. So I mentioned our practice. We have 3 offices. We're about 60 people. In those 3 offices, we work as one practice. Our work's always been focused on a sort of humanistic approach, an experiential approach. What does it feel like? Not what does it look like necessarily, but what does it feel like? So I think in what we're trying to do, it's very much rooted in one's experience of the space and the home. I was also thinking about this project is probably our first project we don't have a client for, which is really weird. We've never really done a spec house. So, it's a little bit of a different position than we're usually in, because we're really trying to deep dive typically into a client's experience. Having built my own house nearby to the Palisades, I sort of thought of this as how I would want to live in my house with 2 young children and the Palisadian dream that there is so many examples of. In terms of our work, I think the other ideas that are really important are a sense of materiality, a sense of flow. Without a doubt, I think this idea of sculpting natural light and how the natural light informs the spaces. And I think is touched by everybody, this connection between the indoor and the outdoor and what that really means. And I think another notion which is really important here, considering the scale of the lots, is this sort of sense of privacy on your lot. We all know how tight some of these lots are. And my home, in fact, I think we're on a 5,500 square foot lot. And I lived in a small 1,500 square foot house on that lot, 8 years ago. We built our new house, which is 5,500 square feet, which sounds crazy. It's 3 stories, it's pushed into the ground. In fact, the page prior to this, if you don't mind turning back, one more, is our basement. And so I think this idea of how natural light and privacy create the spaces both inside and outside of your home, I think is a really important part of what we do, and I think what we'll all be working on together. So the next page briefly shows the project that we're developing currently for the Reset program. And it's a series of indoor and outdoor rooms that populate the site, whether it's primary organization, which is around the courtyard, or the rear yard, or these side yards, which sort of captivate the space. And this outdoor space off the master bedroom, which is fully privatized and sort of open to the sky, to give you a really great sense of privacy and outdoor experience that I think we all aspire to. And again, I think coming back to this idea of humanism, the experience of the space, and how you move through the space and in and out of the landscape, I think that's really about it. So thank you very much, and appreciate it.